So today we're going to talk about placement tasks, and we're going to look at cluster 1, AT19. Okay? And so there's two parts to it. Part 1 will be completed in your placement logbook when you receive those. And part 2 we're going to talk about now. Alright? So let's go to part 2. So you've got EDU on Go Up, click on AT19, and part 2 talks about information technology. So essentially, if you click on that document there that asks you it says to complete this requirement, download the template attached below. So click on that and open it up. And it just talks about information technology, so how you would use computers and stuff to communicate. So there's 1, 2, 3 boxes you need to fill out, okay? So when you're on placement, so this is not necessarily something you have to do when you're on placement. So we've said at times there might be quiet times where you could think about these things. So if you're working on a late shift, sometimes the last part of your late shift is fairly quiet. And what you could do is print these out and have a manual copy of it, and you could just have it tucked, whether your placement logbook is kept with your facilitator or it's kept with you. I would keep the printouts with yourself in a folder, or if you've got a drug book or something you're taking as a resource. So keep this printout with you, and then when you've got a quiet moment, you could actually be doing some of these tasks when you're on placement and populating and filling them out. And as you can see there, it says what information technology systems are in place. So there's computers everywhere at Barwon Health, but it's very varying of their accessibility, your ability to be out, so you guys will probably struggle as students to get access to them, but when the nurses do access them, what do they use them for? Do they use them for getting blood results, x-rays, if they've sent off a urine specimen, like all the micro, do they use it for infection control? Do they use iPads? Do they just have hardwired computers? Do they use, PA systems? So what is the IT stuff, essentially, information tech, what is the IT stuff they use to either disseminate information, gather information? How do they use it? So it's only 30 to 40 words. What is their purpose? 30 to 40 words. And then we want you to be looking at and thinking about the policies and procedures and the use of. So you might actually ask your nurse, do you have a Barwon Health email? Do you get information from your boss about things, from pay office, so how does information get to you, and do you use emails? Some parts of Barwon Health use emails a lot, some don't, but as a nurse, and so it might be nurses don't get much use, doctors get this, do managers only get use? I personally have a Barwon Health email address, and I get a lot of information through, but what are the nurses you're working with? How do they get information? And it's also got here, we want you to talk a little bit about, so this is 80 to 100 words for all three. So there's email, social media, and patient records. So again, with social media, we want you to, what is Barwon Health's policy around social media? We've talked to you about VFA's policy of social media. Every organisation has policies around social media. So what's Barwon Health's? Yeah? It's, a couple of sentences, because it's 100 words in total. And then patient records. How are patient records used? So what are the names of the systems of the software that they use to document when they open their bowels, when they, all those sorts of things. Barwon Health varyingly uses information technology in lots of different ways. You might come across the hand hygiene person doing an audit, and they walk around with an iPad. They might not be there when you're there, but they might, and that's what they use an iPad to get all of their information when they're watching you and screening you. And students get screened and watched and included in the numbers, and then you get graphed how compliant you are. Does that sound okay? That's AT19 cluster 1. Part 1, we're going to do our checklists that you'll see and you'll complete on placement. Your facilitator will watch you. That'll be a separate thing we'll have information about later. But today we just talked about part 2. Okay?